How'd you feel when you got casted as Jango Fett? Like, you're going from...
Yeah, that was a long, long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember the phone call, actually. And I'd met the casting agent, Robin Gerlin. And, yeah, I got the phone call. Yes, we'd love you to... But I wasn't a Star Wars fan. Or, you know, I didn't really know too much about Star Wars. And she was going, we'd love you to play the role of Jango Fett. And I remember screaming, going, yes, yes, yes! Who's Jango Fett?
What is up, all of you regs and all of you shinies? It is Jackson from the 1313 podcast here, and I am so incredibly stoked to bring you this vlog today. So, as the title suggests, I might be able to meet Temuera Morrison today. So the University of Hawaii is having a film event, and they're going to show episode 2 of the Book of Boba Fett publicly, and Temuera Morrison is going to be there. And then afterwards, they said they might do like photos and like brief signings and just like a Q&A as well. So stay tuned to see exactly what happens. But I would be really excited because with me in my bag here, I have my Black Series Jango Fett from Star Wars Bounty Hunter. Now, if I could get this signed today, that would be absolutely amazing. I mean, if not, it'll still be really cool to meet Tem himself, but I'm really, really excited. I'm going to be heading over to the event area now to meet up with some 501st people, because we have Ian who's going to be in his 501st Trooper suit. So stay tuned for the rest of the video to see all the amazing things that happen. I'll catch you in the car.
Let's go!
Okay, so just arrived at the university right now. I'm outside the building where the event is going to be taking place. Still trying to figure out if that's exactly where we're supposed to park. I'm here with a few of the other 501st and Mando Merc members, so we're getting it sorted out. But I will be in there in just a few, or at least waiting in line, because we are kind of ridiculously early, but who wouldn't be ridiculously early to meet Temuera Morrison himself? I'm here with Phil and Lola, just got them suited up for the event, but I'm surrounded by a bunch of other awesome Star Wars characters, and right now we're just waiting in line for them to let us in for the event. I did see the van pull up with Tem, so he is here, so super stoked about that. If you remember Calais from our Have a Chat series, you will see that he has his Jango Fett helmet with him, looking very awesome. We're the only Jango Fett enjoyers at this event today, but that's okay, since Jango is the best. Made it inside the event area. Just waiting for the show to start.
My prescription expired. I mean, subscription, yeah.
Well, this is a phenomenal show, and you are incredible in it.
The one thing I was incredible and really proud of was I wasn't happy with some of my fight scenes. So the stunt guy let me choreograph that scene where I went into the bar and beat those bikies up and stole all their bikes and took them back to my people. So I was very proud of that fact, that he, besides that throw in the glass at the end of the fight, most of those moves were mine. And I wanted it quick and fast. So yeah, I'm very proud of that little bit. I went down to Hermosa Beach with my stick, the broomstick, and I was just going through some ideas, and it ended up like that. The guy who was the director of photography, his name's Dean Cundy. He famous, did Halloween. Iconic movies. The space one, what's the one, Michael J. Fox movies, all those...
Back to the Future?
Yeah, Back to the Future. He lit all of those. And very, very wonderful to work with. I must pay also respects to the wardrobe lady. Her name was Shana Trippett. and we lost her tragically. Was out hiking and then suddenly died. So again, Carl Weathers from Rocky, he was also a director, and we lost him as well too. So, but very good, very close friends. I just wanted to acknowledge, especially Shana's work, all the Boba Fett stuff, all the robes, all the Tuscan look was just fantastic. And as I said, it was just a wonderful opportunity. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a movie way back in the day called Lawrence of Arabia, starring, I think he won an Oscar too for it, but very, very similar. The grain and the train stuff, but this time I was Lawrence of Arabia instead of Peter O'Toole. So again, we start the day by watching like The Godfather, and get a sense of the scene that way, and then we go and do a scene very, very similar. So interesting to work with John Favreau and Dave. Was very, very much like that. So you could watch something and get in the mood. And I grew up on a lot of those movies too.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
What were your inspirations growing up? You grew up in New Zealand.
Yeah, Bruce Lee, Kung Fu movies. Yeah, I love that movie, with Chuck Norris. And they're having that big karate and versus Kung Fu scene, and he grabs the hair off his chest and blows it in his face. I got to meet Chuck Norris too at a couple of these conventions, and I'd go, wow, into the dragon, or the way of the dragon, and all that stuff. So very much Bruce Lee. Back in the day too, we had these two wonderful actors, Paul Newman, Robert Redford, all that stuff. The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Cowboy movies were big, eh? My dad loved cowboy movies, so we were allowed to get up and watch cowboy movies as kids. So yeah, so that was and I love those kung fu movies where their lips are all out of sync, and someone's revoiced which kung fu school did you go to? You come to my school, and you can tell the English doesn't even match the Chinese language that they're talking, and their lips are talking all over the place, and all the sound effects. Yeah, so we used to watch all those kung fu movies and then go out of the theatre, and then they had all these parking meters on our road, on our street, so we're going to kick all of those parking meters. Yeah,
Don't do that.
But anyway, I was Bruce Lee of New Zealand. I was the Bruce Lee of New Zealand.
But so you really did get your big break with Once Were Warriors. You played Jake the
Yes.
Moss.
Yes.
It is now, HIF is really proud that we're screening the 30th anniversary. We're screening Once Were Warriors tonight at Kapolei Theaters for a special 30th anniversary screening.
Yes.
And this film, was huge across the Pacific region. It
Yes.
really resonated with Hawaii audiences.
Yes.
Talk a little about now looking back that it's 2024, 30 years later.
I was the big problem going in there because I was playing Dr. Ropata on a New Zealand soap called Shortland Street. So I had nice curly hair. I was like George Clooney, that program ER?
Yeah.
Well, that was me, but the cheaper New Zealand version. It was called Shortland Street, and I was playing a doctor. And everyone that came to my hospital, I miraculously fixed for some reason. And my name was Dr. Ropata. And then I got a call to go and audition. So I actually auditioned for Uncle Bully, and I was going to play Uncle Bully for a little while there. And what happened? Something, and then I got another phone call a few weeks later, and my agent, he's a Scottish guy, he goes, bro, they want you to go try out for Jake, bro. And I go, Jake? Ooh, and I had a funny little tingle in my stomach. Ooh, gee. So I was on the soap at the times, and I had to go and audition in the lunch break. So I went to the wardrobe, and got a kind of a rough shirt. I was real skinny back then too. I hadn't gone to the gym for nothing. And I got some makeup and put some tattoos, just drew some tattoos on my face, some dots, and that made me look like a bit of a badass. Then I went into the audition, and I was going, gee, big part, this big role, thinking about the opportunity, really. And then I had to figure out very quickly, what I can do when I walk in that room that will resonate with the director. So I immediately switched into I was a good haka man, do the haka. Like over here, you fellas do the hula. All that stuff. Mean warrior stuff it used to be. The men did the classic hula, by the way, so I learned. So, and that's what I figured out. Man, I can use my haka energy. So that's what I did. I was doing some of on the inside, just building myself up. And the haka's kind of got that ability to kind of get you worked up. You start stamping, you start feeling that connection that we as Hawaiians and Polynesians connect to our Mother Earth. You see it in the hula, at all the competition stuff. So I use that energy. When I was trying to get, because I'm not a very angry chap. I'm more of a clown and a funny guy. So I use that kind of spiritual force. But like the force be with you, that thing. And then I transform that energy into the dialogue. And the scene for my audition was right after I beat up Beth Hecker. I gave her a big bashing the night before for being too lippy or something, didn't cook Jake the Muss's eggs or something. And then the next morning she's all battered and bruised. And she starts yelling at me over, I'm sick of your mates coming around and all that stuff. And I have to give her a bit of, who the bloody hell do you think you're talking to, you know, in my own house, you know, and all that stuff. So that's what I did. Worked up myself, who the bloody hell, you know. And it was enough of a moment for the director to see that little bit of fire, just that little bit of, bit of that stuff. Then I got the call, bro, I want you to play Jake, bro. Okay, I'm in. But you gotta go to the gym, bro, you're too skinny. Then I had to go eat up a little bit, put on some weight and turn myself into a bit of a psycho, man. It was kind of hard because at the same time I was still doing Shortland Street, the doctor. So I'd be driving to work, normally late, going to the hospital, and then after like a car would, like a car would cut me off or something, and I'd use that just to get angry. Just so I could just make myself angry at any little thing that would spark me into that anger. And that's what I had to really work on. Then I finished the movie 5 weeks later. I had to go back to the Shortland Street to be the doctor again. Well, I kept swearing at everybody. And all the nurses, nurse, get the fucking ass in here. It took me like 6 months to calm down, really. I was still like halfway between Jake the Muss and Dr. Ropa. That was kind of weird. And everyone was scared of me, too. I just look at them with this look. Yeah, so yeah, it still lingers sometimes, that fella, Jake the Muss. But that was, yeah. I'm talking too much, I think. That's all right? No. But that was the movie that I got recognized way back in the day. It got noticed, not so much in the public arena, but more so from producers seen it. And then I got my first job in Hollywood, basically through Once We Warriors, that someone had seen it. It was called Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson. I always wanted to go to Hollywood, so I didn't worry about what the movie was, who it was, I just wanted to go there. So that one came up first. Yep, I'm in. And it was all action too. It was kind of good. It was all action film. I don't think anyone saw it, but anyway, I had fun making it.
And then, so you've been in a number of Hollywood productions.
Yes.
But you've also continued to star and support in a lot of Pacific Rim independent films as well.
Yes.
And your latest movie that's coming up, Jason Momoa's The Wrecking Crew, takes place in Hawaii, but is being shot in New Zealand.
There was one before that, though. The one I wanted to mention was Chief of War.
Just about to mention that. But you're also starring in Chief of War, the Nakamali historical action series, also primarily shot in New Zealand.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about these projects and your thoughts around all that?
The Chief of War, I think Jason has always been looking for something to make from his homeland that he could connect to. And he was looking at a number of projects, I think, and a couple of them fell through, or someone else had made it before he did. There was a story about the leper people on the island with the leper colony and all of that stuff. He was going to do something like that. But anyway, it all kind of changed a little bit, and then they ended up doing this Chief of War series. But quite spectacular in terms of visuals, quite different, quite fresh. It's something we as an audience have never seen before. I'm very excited about it. The big thing for me was the promotion of our Olelo. And most of us had to speak in Hawaiian, which, oh my God, I thought us Maoris and Hawaiians were like this, but there's been a few missionaries and a lot of water in between us, because I don't know what's up down. I don't know what happened with our apostrophe. We kind of fell off the canoe by the time we got to Aotearoa. But, oh my God, yeah. And it was like walking around in a Hawaiian loincloth in the middle of winter in New Zealand. Well, it wasn't very nice as well. Quite funny, there was a scene, Cliff Curtis is my other, oh, sorry, all of us Māoris are stealing Hawaiian parts there, right? But we're doing a scene, and it was so cold. Makariri, ooh. But it kind of helped with the ho-oh, those apostrophe things were so cold there, but spectacular, it looks spectacular. They've made Braveheart, they've made Troy, but this is like a Polynesian something that we've never seen before. And man, I just had a wonderful time dealing with a lot of the people like teaching us the Hawaiian and the dialogue, and that was the highlight for me. And we really need to keep some of our productions here in Hawaii. And I think it comes back to starting now and starting with a younger generation in terms of training, in terms of upskilling. Not so much now. There'll be studios built around here one day, and then we'll have people that we can send over there to work in the media right across the area, learning about sound, learning about camera, learning about the textures of wardrobe, learning about the writing process, which we haven't got enough of. If there's any push, we need more writers. We might have all these technicians ready to go, but we've got no story to tell. We need to start telling our own stories. And as you said, Becky, I've always maintained doing our stuff back home. I've been blessed, I can go work in Hollywood, but I really enjoy going home. I really enjoy working in my own language, Māori, and endorsing and giving that the tautoko now, so our kids can hear their language, so our kids can see themselves. When I grew up, there was only me on the screen. Dr. Ropata, things like that, because I was the fresh brown face, and I guess if young people can see me doing it, I remember getting a compliment on that Speed 2, as I said earlier, doing it for us Polynesians, brother, and I never thought of it like that. Just giving a positive image back to our people, and I think that's where our energy is at the moment, because that's what I'm really enjoying, going home. And I even just finished a TV show, all in our language, for the Māori television channel we have in New Zealand, and that's a little drama. We don't, and I'm seeing what's happening now is I'm working with a lot of people who have been training in the job for about 30 years now. They've started as like a cable holder, or just a junior camera person, or holding the microphone. And these people I've seen come through after 30 years, and they all become producers at the end of the day, and they all have their story to tell. And for Whawhai Tonu, the one that screened recently here at the Hawaiian Film Festival, all in Te Reo Māori, again, these are people that I've seen and that I've grown up with. And, they all sort of say, oh, I've got a movie. I need you in it. Bro, I'm busy doing Boba Fett. But I get more pleasure really going home, speaking in my own language. And I'm not trying to keep everybody happy. Sometimes I get in situations where the white people are telling me how to be a native. Because the white person's the producer of this thing that I'm doing, and it kind of feels weird. But when we're doing it ourselves, doing it our own, and there's your brother right next to you, bro, what are we doing here? Oh, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, okay. And then you hear them, quarter, and we make things even in the process of making it. We don't say action anymore. We say, karafiwa. And the cameraman who's holding the camera, framing up, he doesn't go frame, ready, frame, meaning picture, we're ready to go, got the frame. We go, whakahua, meaning I've got the picture, karafiwa. And man, back when I grew up, there was none of that. And so, yeah, and as I say earlier, it's what you're doing. Your thing was to bring me here, and more so to speak to the young people who may have a desire to work in the industry somewhere, and that's all I did. I was just a Māori boy from Rotorua who loved doing the haka, and found that channel more so in the performance side. And I used to do how we have the hula dancing all on Waikiki and all of that. I used to do the Māori version in New Zealand. That was me, 7 nights a week on my motorbike, taiaha on the back, off to do the concert for the tourist. And that was the seed of my performance, really. That was my theatre training, singing, dancing, having that ability to stand on the stage and project. And those were my seeds, which this is timing too. I did Once for Warriors, which was a movie that got noticed. Then I got called to Hawaii to be the big kind of bad guy. Then I did movies like Speed 2 with Sandra Bullock. I got to work with Brando on a movie called The Island of Dr. Moreau. That was a buzz for me, seeing an icon and being close to a guy like Marlon Brando. Ooh, I still pretend I'm him sometimes when I'm acting.
What I do,
Yeah, anyway.
I know we have a lot of students in here
Yeah, I
with
talk too much.
questions. We have a little bit of time.
Where are they going?
Can you,
Where are you guys going?
guys are allowed to get to your
You
next
had enough
class.
of me already?
They have more classes.
Wow.
They're active students.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
But-
You go do your acting lessons. Okay.
We have a microphone right here where Jen May is standing.
Microphone over there.
We can
Oh.
have time for maybe 1 or 2 questions from you
Your
guys.
question too.
So-
I'll answer quickly. Who else? You might have another class to go to. Do some acting, something, media. Oh, okay. Hands up. I think I can hear them, darling. Just yell it out.
Okay, yeah, I'll yell. No, I don't want a microphone.
Actually, I can't hear you. Yeah, I'm deaf. Give her the microphone.
So, no, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get nervous. So I'm curious to know, being in Maori perspective and in film for so many years, that working more or having more exposure with like Polynesian culture, being in the media, if that is making others who are not Polynesian more considerate about like culturally sensitive topics and relaying it through film.
So
Have you
how
seen
has
positive
your
changes
experience,
with the exposure?
like as more Polynesians
Does that make any sense?
come into the industry, has it increased awareness and respect for Polynesian culture?
Yeah.
Have you seen a difference as throughout your
When
career?
I grew up, I used to watch all those cowboy movies, and I always got annoyed at watching the Indians going around and around the wagon train, and John Wayne just going. And I'll go, gee, maybe someone should tell those Indians not to run around the wagon like that. They're just going to get shot. Maybe they should wait till nighttime. Park up their horses and sneak in, maybe. But then I found out they weren't even Indians. They were called extras. As long as you were brown. Round up the brownies. Put a wig on them. Can they ride a horse? Hopefully they try to do it a little bit better than that. But yes, I've seen a lot of things growing now. I see a lot more of our young people getting into it too,
Have you
and
noticed?
it's encouraging.
Have you noticed that others that are like producers or directors that aren't Polynesian, that they're being more culturally sensitive?
Yes, now so they
as
have
well?
cultural advisors now too, because we really got to. We can't be just like even in Chief of War. We couldn't just be making up the Hawaiian. We really had to sit down with the writers and get all the correct thoughts and feelings behind the scene, what they wanted to portray, and then translate that into Hawaiian and try and get it right and accurate too. So yes, a lot more respect, and we're having cultural advisors. A lot of the stuff in New Zealand now.
Which is a relatively new role in the industry, the culture advisor
Yes,
role.
yes. Now we even have intimacy advisors.
Which is a separate topic. Are there more questions? That was a great question.
Yes,
Yeah.
no, very good. But yeah, a lot more respect coming, and just in terms of getting it right. And yeah, I remember there was a moment when Marlon Brando was getting the Oscar, and he sent the Native American woman up to accept the award because he didn't like the way they were being. Hey, that was kind of a radical moment where this Indian got up and didn't like the way they were being portrayed in Hollywood, or how Hollywood was portraying them. But anyway, yeah, I think we're moving on. We're getting our people, power to the people now.
Go ahead.
Hi, I have 2 questions, and it's not about the movies. It's about like representation. So for my first question, how do you feel your roles, particularly in Once Were Warriors and Star Wars, contribute to the representation of indigenous cultures in mainstream media and entertainment?
I don't really think about those things. I'm one of these guys that if I get a job, I just go, yay! I can feed my kids for 6 months, yay! And then I love the director who chose me to play the part in his movie. Then I love the producers for giving me a go. And I really come from that perspective, man, these guys have chosen me to do this job. And then if there's an opportunity to promote anything Maori or anything that are my roots, like Boba Fett, for example, that stick that I made, that's talent, man. Did you see how that stick looked at the beginning? It was like just a piece of a log from a tree. And I carved and forged that weapon. I'm looking at it going, wow, that's talent to turn that stick into that weapon. But that's what it takes, crafting. It takes grinding. You see, as an actor, what do we take to work? A builder takes his saw, his hammer, his ruler, his workbench, all things you can physically touch. But what does the actor take to work? Well, what's his tools? It's a lot of that stuff is on the inside. It's on the inside of us. And I found a way to tap into our ancestral energy where I can. Of course, you can't sort of be doing the haka on every scene, going, wah, wah, wah. You might scare everybody. But you can take that energy source and tone it down a little bit. Don't be that expressive. Use the dialogue. And another trick I do is pretend smoke is coming out of my ears. Like smoldering.
Let's try and get one more question in from maybe someone new.
That's how you get the wahine like that, with that smoldering look.
Last question.
Becky, I'm trying to give them my smoldering look here. You're ruining it. You're ruining it, Becky.
Great.
I think it's effective.
Yeah. Hi, sir.
Not
Really
working
big fan.
lately, anyway.
Really big fan. Seeing you from like the screen in person, I think it's awesome. I grew up in San Francisco where there were a lot of like Polynesians there, and you know, just seeing you on screen kind of like gave, I don't know, in representation. How'd you feel when you got casted as Jango Fett? Like, you're going from...
Yeah, that was a long, long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember the phone call actually. And I'd met the casting agent, Robin Gerlin. And yeah, I got the phone call. Yes, we'd love you to. But I wasn't a Star Wars fan. Or, you know, I didn't really know too much about Star Wars. And she was going, we'd love you to play the role of Jango Fett. And I remember screaming, going, yes, yes, yes. Who's Jango Fett? But yeah, that was a buzz for me. And then we filmed a lot of that in Australia, Sydney, at a Fox studio there. So that's why he used a number of New Zealand, Australian actors in that Attack of the Clones. But I think it was basically due to Once We're Warriors, the work I'd done in that. I think also George was looking for a kind of Polynesian kind of look somewhere in his Star Wars saga, a warrior kind of race. And so it was timing for me. I think it's just timing. Funny too, another guy turned up, Captain Taifo, a guy called Jay Langaya, Samoan actor. And I remember seeing him at one of the early meetings at Star Wars in Sydney. Because we were DJs together on the radio. We couldn't really act, so we had to do other stuff too. So we used to be DJs. And I see him, my buddy, go, oh, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm Captain Taifo. Oh, is that right? He goes, what are you doing here? I'm Jango Fett. So it was kind of a buzzy moment, me and my Samoan buddy both being in Star Wars. And also Rena Owen, my wife from Once We're Warriors, played that big, tall Tanui on that island of Camino. So it was funny seeing some of us, seeing my wife from Once We're Warriors looking like that. But anyway. Hey, lovely to have a chat. We're going to do some more later, right, Becky?
Yes, so
But,
Jen May is going to tell us what happens next.
Okay, but great on you. Just encourage all you young people who are studying, just kaukaha, keep going, keep climbing, keep taking those positive step forwards. It's about upskilling. I wasn't being able to act all the time, so I used to work in radio. I used to work as a researcher thing for documentary people. I used to work behind the camera every now and then. I worked in catering sometimes, helping the cooks out. Sometimes I was the caterer because there was no food for us while we were filming. Sometimes we were all starving. But anyway, we just still carried on making our project. We just made it. We just get that first one made, get the experience. And it's upskilling too, so that helps. So kia kaha. And that's what we want at the end of the day. We want to keep some of our program making here. We want to have facilities here. We want to train young people now. So in the future, we're ready. We're ready to rock and ready to tell our story. So hopefully I'm on the same waka. We're all on the same va'a here. I know you are. I know the Hawaiian Film Festival are doing their little bit to encourage that. So again, thank you very, very much for being here and allowing me to share a bit of time with you wonderful folk here. Aloha. Mahalo nui.
Okay, just got out of the theater right now. We are currently standing in line, and I would, if he can, very much sign this. That would be awesome, but just to meet him in general is going to be amazing. So excited that I can make this event today. He's right there.
Objective acquired.
Okay, so I just got done meeting Ted, and he signed my Jango from Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I'm like over the moon right now. I'm so incredibly happy and excited. I got a photo with him too that I am hopefully including in the vlog right now, but this was an absolute blast. I'll talk some more as soon as I get out of here too. Okay, so the event just finished up and I ended up just driving home really quick, but I cannot put into words how excited and how grateful I am to have met Temuera Morrison. He was so incredibly nice when we were all meeting him. He was taking his time with everyone, doing photos and signings absolutely free. So very, very blessed to have been able to meet him. Now, for a lot of people at conventions right now, they're asking him and they're like, hey, so what about Book of Boba Fett Season 2? And he's kind of given the same response. So today I decided to ask him, what about Jango Fett? Do you think you would ever reprise that role? And his answer to me was, no, I really liked that Jango Fett guy, but you know, then Mace Windu does the choppy thing and he's no more, so I guess I can't do that character. So, bit of a funny response, but maybe he will come back again as Jango Fett in some sort of prequel-related thing. Maybe, hopefully he does make the return as Boba Fett in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But it was so, so awesome to meet him. I know the interview, the interview section I put in was a little bit long and it related to a lot about his cultural perspective to the film, but I'm going to keep it all in because I think it's important. I will try to clip and have chapters in the video so you can find that Jango Fett question at the very end. But huge thank you to the HIF people at the University of Hawaii's West Campus for putting on this event. They were extremely nice, very professional. So thank you to all of the volunteers and to all the workers that were there for helping set up this experience for us. But if you made it this far on the vlog, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching it and getting to see a little bit more of Tem. Again, so incredibly nice. He's an amazing person. Wish him nothing but the best. Hope that we do get to see him again. If you want to stay tuned for more 1313 content, make sure that you're subscribing to us here on YouTube and make sure that you check us out on Instagram and TikTok. And YouTube has their community feature that we post in too. Trying to keep y'all up to date whenever we're doing anything fun and new for 1313, so you're never left in the dark while we're still working on our new project that we are very close to releasing and we are very excited to very, very soon. But thank you again. Mahalo and goodbye.